It was Texas, it was Tennessee.
Alrighty, welcome in, folks. My name's Steve. This is Soul to my left, right? I don't know, somewhere.
It doesn't matter.
Uh, and we are thrilled tonight to have Ty Smith from Ty Smith and the Minor Offenses on. Welcome in.
Yeah, man. Thank y'all for having us.
Yeah, it's good to see you, man. First off, obviously, we appreciate you taking time to sit down and chat with us. But for maybe those of our viewers that may not be super familiar with you, do you mind just taking a couple minutes and giving us a little bit of your backstory?
Absolutely. Well, I grew up here in Sand Springs, Oklahoma. I still live here. 16 years old. I've been touring full time the last 2 years on the road. Just road dogging it, playing every show we can, playing every venue we can. I grew up in a pool hall that had live music, and those two things have been a big, big part of my life so far. When COVID hit, I went to virtual school so I could tour playing pool tournaments and go on different. I went to Vegas 3 times. I've been to Florida and a bunch of different places for pool tournaments. And then music started getting up and going, and I knew then that virtual is definitely the way to go, so I could keep touring with music. And then pool has slowly faded out of the scene, but I still play during the week when I'm here at home, and I still enjoy doing that a ton. When I'm at venues, I get to play with fans, and it's always kind of cool. But I've been on the road this last couple months with the guys, the Minor Offenses, and we've been having a blast these last few months on the road, getting to play a bunch of shows and getting to show them this little piece of heaven that I've been able to, live these last 2 years on the road and playing all these cool venues, and it's been really cool.
Yeah, well, I do know there have been some I don't know if I want to say, I guess, unique or really interesting things that you've had happen in this relatively short amount of time. But maybe specifically, was there any family influence that made you start at a relatively young age?
Man, I get that question a lot, and none of my family plays music at all. My mom played. Well, my mom played piano like in high school, and then she still plays like a little bit, but she's not able to play
Right.
near as well as she used to be able to. But I really just picked up a guitar. I've been playing drums since I was, 3 or 4 years old, and I got when my grandparents owned the billiards room. The bands would get word that I'm a drummer, and I got to go up and play on the Mike the Moon Pies kit because they used to come in and play every other month, and I played on some pretty cool people's drum sets back when I was 5 or 6 years old. Unfortunately, none of the credit came in at school or nothing because nobody knew who Mike and the Moon Pies were in fourth
They
grade,
should, but they didn't,
but
right?
they should have.
Yeah.
And but I got to do some cool stuff growing up with and build relationships with those guys. Mike's a great friend of ours to this day. Zane Williams came in there and played full band for $400 one time, and Caitlin Butts from here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, back when she was
Sure.
Katie Butts.
Yep.
And we just had some awesome shows. Mike McClure band with Tom Skinner when he was still alive.
That's amazing.
So yeah, it was really cool growing up around this scene, and that's really where I fell in love with it. Was just being around these heroes of music my whole life.
This may be a question you get as well, so I apologize. But being relatively youthful, what's the normal reaction, or what's been the reaction of folks? Have you noticed that people go, do a double take, or do they have any specific reaction? You tell them how old you are.
Yeah. So it's actually funny because we started doing this when we're playing the full band shows. We'll get together before the show and guess what the audience reaction is going to be.
Okay.
Because it varies different cities. But the thing that we found is most common is that I'll say my age and then the room goes quiet for a good 3 seconds. And then I'll say something funny like, yeah, don't let the mustache fool you. And everybody starts like whispering and murmuring throughout the crowd.
Right. They're like, did you hear what he said?
Yeah, and then this in Kerrville, Texas, we had this grandma come up to the front of the stage and was like, "How old are you really?" And the band's like, "No, he's really 16." And yeah, some people just simply don't believe it. And we actually I have an ID now that we carry all over the place so that they can be like, "Hey, this is
Yeah.
legal documentation of how old I am.
It's like a little league game where they're like, "How old's that kid?" Looks like he's 32.
I slipped the umpire $20 and they let me
Right.
play.
I imagine it's interesting for sure.
Well, and the thing that gets them is I don't write 16-year-old songs.
Right.
I don't write these happy, I love life, I love doing this, and this songs. I write like divorced dad kind of songs. You know what I mean? It's more like drugs and alcohol addiction and these dark things in life that 16-year-olds, 14-year-olds for that matter, when I wrote the songs, probably shouldn't be writing about. But I hadn't lived those things, but I've been around a lot of people that have lived through those hard times of life, and
Sure.
I've been lucky enough to get those memories put in my head and been able to write songs about them, and it's connected with people pretty well.
Nice. All right. Well, we'll get off the age thing, but there's one question I like to ask. The rest of them are all different each time, but this one I always ask, and it's called the pie question. So I'm going to give you a pie, and I want you to divide it up into 4 sections. And those 4 sections are songwriting, recording, performing, and then the 4th one is the business, everything else, business of running your own business, all the extras or whatnot. How do you divide up your time in those areas? And then which of those areas do you think you maybe gravitate, or what slice of pie do you gravitate towards the most out of those 4?
Definitely the performing aspect. There's nothing. Anybody that's been to a live show has seen us on stage. We usually don't stay on the stage during our show.
Right.
We've been known to jump on tables and bar tops and speakers, and so performance has always been huge for us. Because when I first hired the band, I said, "Hey, look, we got these shows booked, and there's people buying tickets, and everybody that buys a ticket needs to leave knowing that they got what they paid for." And we're not the best band in the world. I'm not the best songwriter in the world. I'm not the best looking guy in the world, but I'm making sure that every show these guys get what they're paying for. And that's a huge motto that I've learned and grew up. Actually, BJ Barham talks about it a lot, and that's who I learned it from.
Very
But
cool.
songwriting is definitely the other big piece of pie. I try to sit down every day and write. Sometimes I get good stuff. Sometimes I just get nothing, which happens a lot more than the other. And then I'm very fortunate. My father handles a lot of the business stuff, so I don't have to actually go and deal with a whole lot of the hands-on stuff. I handle some social media, but a lot of the time the messages do get back to me if y'all send messages on social media. But I mean it's just a lot of the performance and songwriting for me personally, because that's just what I enjoy doing the most.
Makes sense. And then with regard to the recording slice of the pie,
Yeah.
what's your experience been so far in the studio?
Yeah, studio's been great. Our first album we cut with a buddy of ours named Dave Smith in Nashville, Tennessee. He played utility guitar for Toby Keith and Lee Greenwood, and he's absolutely killer. I loved working with him. We've branched out. We're working with Chad Malden from Malden Productions currently on this next album. He produced our new single "Christmas All Alone," and both experiences were different in the best way possible. With Dave, we got to walk in the studio, put down my vocals, and we drove back to Oklahoma because we trusted Dave a lot at that point recording the album. We'd seen his work. We know what he's going to do. And it was nothing short of what we thought. It was absolutely amazing. With Chad, it was a lot more hands-on, a lot more in the studio. Do you like this, or this better? My guys all played on the new album, so it's more hands-on for them as well, which was really cool for them, because they haven't gotten to really experience going into a studio like that and recording and doing all that cool stuff like that. So it was really cool for them, especially to get in there and record stuff and see how it's all done in the production. And nonetheless, I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else than Chad, because Chad was awesome to hang out with for 3 days and record. And I can't wait to record more with him. But his process was awesome. I highly encourage doing both things, because you get different producers do different things, and you get cool sounds with every single producer.
Yeah, I could see where if, I mean, I don't know this, but in my head, if it could be intimidating, especially if you don't have a ton of recording experience and maybe not matching up with what you thought it might be in your head. But, I think getting those different experiences is going to help kind of shape what your sound is like and what direction you want to eventually go in the future. So kudos to you.
Yeah, man, it's been great. They see all the people I hang around, the music I listen to, and they see how that influences my songwriting and also my songs, the way I want them to sound. So it's been really cool for them to really do research on us and who we are as people, um, to see what kind of sound we want, and it's been a great experience, truthfully.
All right, cool.
Do you I guess the question that came to mind was when you were talking about your guys recording. Um, do you do you think you guys are connect to that album and those songs since you went through the recording process together? Do you think y'all connect on that even more than otherwise because you went through the recording and everything together and then performing it also?
Yeah, it definitely creates this bond of trust between us because it's not just my name on the line; it's all of our names that it's going to be on the album. You know, the
Right.
back of the album has all the credits, and we know that whatever work we put in on these songs is really important. And having that bond between us, because my band's like family to me, truthfully. I've been so lucky to find these guys that are absolutely incredible people to hang around with, and also incredible musicians. And this last year and this last couple months, actually, with our new band, because we've changed um, some roles around. It's been really cool to see them grow together as family, especially in the studio. Studio was really cool for us to just sit down for 3 days, do nothing but play music. Like they'd no work calls, they turned their phones off. We just sat down, played music, and it was something I highly recommend people do, even if you're not recording, just to grow that bond with your band and get closer as people and because it connects to stage. It really does. If you're closer with your band, you're going to be closer to your band on stage. You're going to be closer and tighter on stage, and it's it was really cool to see the two combine together and
Yeah.
honestly make us better.
I could see where the just from a musician standpoint where they would be even more proud of being involved from the scratch of a song. You know what I mean? I'm sure that would translate all the way over to stage for them personally. Also, just to I played that part on the record. Now I'm playing that part on stage. I mean, it would have to you would have to be closer to it and more connected as a musician, even from their point of view.
Yeah, it was definitely cool because Chad was great to work with, and he made him try a bunch of different things. And sometimes they'll play something different that still sounds good, but they finally found their one thing that they really enjoy doing and playing on stage. And they all have their solos, obviously, that they enjoy taking here and there. And
Hmm.
um, but yeah, to see them go through that whole process as the leader of the band um, it was really cool because you could see the light up in their eyes when they finally got a really good take. And you could see it burn down again when Chad wanted them to do another take. But that's studio, man. You got to do 100 good takes, and you get maybe piecing together all of them, and it makes the best possible one.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure that's cool though that you're able to do that with the guys. I'm sure that's makes it even more special. Um, I know he was touching on age thing. I was just going to ask as far as have you found any advantages or disadvantages as far as your age goes? Do you think in some ways it helps you? Do you think in some ways it hurts? Have you found any of those things, or everything been pretty receptive?
Everything's been really perceptive. The Sometimes it's tough to get people's attention if you tell them out of the gate you're 16. I usually like to save it towards like 4 or 5 songs into my set because it really, really will shut them up pretty quick. And That's what makes the murmurs real loud, is they'll listen to this band. They're like, oh man, this full grown man from Tulsa is pretty decent. And then they're like, oh, he's a 16-year-old kid. This guy's really good. It can change their perspective like super quick. And also the older guys on the scene that have been doing this for years, guys like Shane Smith and William Clark Green and BJ Barham and Mike McClure and Cody Canada, these awesome musicians I've looked up to. They have helped me more than I can ever tell anybody, because they know that the future of music is, with the younger generation, and they've been able to help and grow and do all these awesome things that I don't really think anybody else would be able to help me with. When we did our name change back in March, we called Mike Harmeyer, because Mike was the guy that knew what to do with name changes at that point in time.
It hadn't been that long since they changed theirs.
Yeah, and so just having that connection of people that want to help you and do these different things is, to me, it blows my mind. I can't believe it's real at the end of the day, that I get to call these heroes of mine friends, and they all invite me out to do stuff when we're at shows, and it's so cool seeing that relationship grow from being a fan to being a friend, and that's really the cool part.
It seems like a lot of those. We talked about this with a lot of folks that have been on. It's like if you prove your worth and you're working and you're trying to be better and not trying to take shortcuts and just putting in the work, then you're accepted into that circle. But most of those guys aren't in your situation. But it's always cool no matter what. No matter if it's a 40-year-old, like Edie was talking about, he got started later, you know what I mean? But eventually he's accepted into the scene. You know what I mean? You're starting young, but you're still, because you're working at it, you're accepted into the scene. It's crazy that there's such a wide variety, but it really does seem to work that way with all these different guys, and that's really cool. It says a lot about the guys in the scene, for one.
Right.
So
yeah, meeting the group in College Station, Texas, all the way out in Steamboat, Colorado. Music Fest has been a really cool festival for me to go to every year, and because I get to just sit there and meet people. That's how I met Jordan Nix and Parker Ryan and Stelly and Dalton Domino and Tanner Usry, and I now have these connections with all of them because I just sat down in a room one day and played a song and they liked it, and it was like we hit it off. Like we've known each other our whole lives after that, and that whole scenario to me is just crazy. These people that have never heard of me. They don't know who I am. They think I'm just some kid that knows some 3 chords and crappy songwriting. And then I start playing this song that they're like, there's no way this guy wrote this song. And it's just, their connection to me is very close because of it. I can see what you mean, being like in that circle. Because if you just walk up to somebody and say, hey, I'm a singer-songwriter, they'll be like, okay, cool, nice to meet you. Right. But if you get the chance to sit down in front of them and show them that you're not just here to play bars and play for a bar tab every other night and do this stupid stuff, then they really see how much you've worked, and they can tell.
I think the working part is where the respect is earned, especially when you're trying to grind out original music, because that's not always the easiest and the most receptive thing, the road to go down. The easy road is to play the generic, songs. The hard road is to play your own songs. So kudos to you on that one.
That's another part too, is we've taken, a lot of people want like these just classic covers, and we've done a couple. Like we do Amarillo by Morning, we do the classics that people are going to know, but we also do songs like Wolves by American Aquarium that nobody's going to know if we show up to this little bar in Texas and play, and just throwing in some oddball songs like that. We throw in a Mike McClure song called Horseshoe. We throw in just a bunch of these little songs that nobody's ever heard of that, really catches their ear, and they're like, why have I never heard this band before? Why have I never done this? And it's our way of showing people that, hey, we're going to play these songs that you've heard before a million times, but I want you to really listen to the ones you haven't heard a million times, because that's why I'm here. I'm here to show you my music, and I hope that you like it enough to show it to your friends.
Yeah, everybody has to add a couple covers to bring the crowd back in. So, that's part of the game. But you know, we do have some folks in the chat though on YouTube. There's a couple. We got to get you to the East Coast, and Stephanie brought up that you playing Canes with Shane Smith. So
Yeah,
um,
man.
yeah,
That show came about because of only Shane, believe it
so
or
that's
not.
that's coming up pretty soon, right?
Yeah, Valentine's
That's,
Day, February 14th. I believe it's already sold out. GA tickets are hard to come by scalpers. But I was with Shane in Wisconsin doing a show together, and I had heard about a Valentine's Day show was going to be announced soon. And I was talking with him. I'm like, hey, you got support for that show yet? And he's like, I think we do, but let me check with the guys, and I'll text you back, and I'll let you know what we got. And he's like, have you never played Kane's Ballroom before? And I'm like, no, I haven't made my debut there yet. And he's like,
that's cool.
we're gonna change that. So
Very
I got
cool.
an email from his manager the next day that says, hey, we already have the Drop Tines opening, but we'd like to also have you play a couple of songs acoustic before they go on. And if you don't want to, it's okay. And we're like, oh, obviously we want to. It's not something you turn down.
Twist my arm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're like, well, $100 due. And we're like, yeah. I mean, it's, yeah. So, but it all happened because of Shane, truthfully. He asked me if I wanted to play the show. He made it happen. He texted all his guys. And so everybody's like asking me, text, like, how did you get on the show with Shane Smith? You're not with this big, label booking agent that he's with. How are you doing this? And I'm like, it's just building that connection with the artist. It's just knowing them and not treating them as an artist and treating them as a person. Knowing that when you see him, don't ask like, hey man, how's the shows going? It's how's your family doing? How's the new kid? How's everything besides music. People don't understand that if you do music as much as they do it, the last thing they want to talk about is more music. I promise. They want to talk about family and the things that matter to them. And that's been a big part of, even, some of my folks and my crew has a problem with when we go to festivals or seeing all these big famous people and, they run up and ask for a picture real quick. And I'm like, guys, we got to treat them like people. They're just people. They have families back home just like you have a family. They work a job just like you work a job. They don't want to talk about their job like you don't want to talk about your job. They just let them be for a little bit. They don't step off the tour bus and then harass them, But it's sad because people can't go to the grocery store anymore at all.
Yeah, to be fair, Soul Gravy and I get the same thing, so we
Yeah,
understand.
You guys get it. Yeah, you guys are
Different levels, but
I saw you at Love and War. You couldn't get away from the people, man.
it's kind of how it
Just
works. But
wanted it.
I think they saw I was buying drinks, so that was
No
a
autographs,
different deal.
please.
Yeah, no autographs, no gifts, please.
You saying pictures were $5?
Yeah, it's weird.
He has a sign.
Well, I just pull it out for special occasions. So I have a question. I don't know if you have spent any time doing like any goal setting. I know this may sound kind of boring, but I'm curious. Do you have any specific I don't know, watermarks or things that you want to accomplish in the next couple of years? And then what do you think your future might look like? I don't know, 5-10 years down the road.
Man, that's a really tough question because, for one, I get to check one of my bucket goals off February 14th with Shane Smith playing Kane's Ballroom. But another goal of mine is obviously play Green Hall. That's another legendary venue I'd like to get into. I recently got to go up on stage at the TCMAs and do a song at Billy Bob's. That was kind of cool.
Absolutely. Yeah.
As far as like goals, I'd like to get on tour with some of these bands I'm friends with. I like to do some shows with Silverado. I like to do some shows with American Aquarium, William Clark Green, Mike McClure. And as far as like popularity wise, my goal is just to be able to feed my band. I'm not worried about selling out Billy Bob's or selling out arenas. That will come if we work hard and put in the work. But my main priority right now is to be able to just allow my band to quit their jobs and do this full time and let them live their dreams as well as, you know, me getting to live my dream. So yeah.
That's great. Since we talked a little bit about the band, can you tell us a little bit about the folks in your band and kind of your support team?
Yeah. My emotional support team, also known as my band, AKA the Minor Offenses, is we got Chris Holt back on the drums, absolutely killer. We got Jeremy Neal on lead guitar now. He came in and stepped up a couple months ago after our Love and War show. And then we have Stephen Morgan on the bass and background vocals, and I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else. This crew's all their wives come out with us, and they're amazing people. And then we got my dad that comes and tours with us and helps out, and it's just the whole thing's awesome. The experience is great, and I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else.
Are you managing the band or managing with your dad the band, or what's that look like for you?
So we have roles, and we all respect each other as equals, you know, because once you get to having like egos in the band, you might as well get a new band, because those will never go away. You will leave scars on hearts that cannot be repaired. And so we all treat each other equally. My drummer has been given the role of, you know, not tour manager, but band manager. So when we get to a venue, he figures out where we need to set up, what needs to be done, and, you know, everybody gets on track to doing what they need to do while I'm going and shaking the venue owner's hand and doing the other stuff that I need to do. But other than that, I mean, everybody helps everybody. We all load in together. We all load out together. It's nice. Just that's the only way to do it. If you just like load up your stuff and say, hey, I'm going to a hotel, see you guys later. Like, it's just not, you're not really family. You know what I mean? Like, family helps each other out. Family loads in with each other. Family loads out. And that's kind of what I've been big on pushing to them, is that this is not just some band that we're playing with. You know, it's cool that we're on stage, we get to do this, but at the end of the day, we're family. You know?
Yeah, it absolutely can become pretty transactional. And, you know, I think Soule mentioned this on one of our more recent interviews. You know, it can become kind of apparent from the fan perspective when it becomes transactional. And it just, you know, it's different. It has a different feeling. And for bands to think that folks aren't picking up on that, you know, it's would be a mistake probably, but it's great. Sounds like you got a great team behind you.
Man, I couldn't be happier with the ones we got. We hit the road for the first time in Hays, Kansas, and the band was blown away, to say the least. And they got
hooked
the
on theater.
We did not play the Fox. We were looking
okay.
to get a date there. We played a place called the Fort Bar or something. I can't remember. It was something right there in Hays. Huge venue, like incredible outdoor area. They had like axe throwing on the inside and like a bowling lane on the inside. It was a huge, huge place.
Yep.
They packed it out. We didn't have all of our fans there, but it was a college crowd kid, and they all loved us. So we're hoping to get back to Hays soon.
Cool. Very cool. We are about at halftime, so I don't know if we gave you a choice or not, but we will give you a choice if you prefer to listen to one of your songs on, we can pull up and play, or if you want to play one for us, you have that option as well.
Man, I'll pull one. I'll bring the guitar out and we do one real quick.
All right. That'd be great.
We should probably mute Talbot.
So I wrote this song with a buddy of mine out of Abilene, Texas. His name's Mark Powell. He runs his own festival out there called Outlaws and Legends. I got invited up to Estes Park, Colorado to do a songwriter series he puts on, and we went up there and wrote songs, and we went and fished at Whitey Morgan's pond up there because he has his own place out there, and we had a blast. We took a little horseback hike trail, and it was really one of my favorite times I've ever gotten to spend just doing music and hanging out with those people. But we sat down one night. We wrote this song. It's not released yet. It's called 6 Feet of Dirt. Folks ran cold in a Cadillac, OD'd in a hotel room. A plane went down in a fiery crash, coked up higher than the moon. All the greats, they left their plates with meat left on the bone. I'm calling dibs, I got songs to live before my name's in stone. So don't let that old jukebox quit playing that old Hank. Little Whitley, keep on filling the smoky air. I can't watch a coin toss, cash just makes me hurt. But eating crow, drinking corn ain't worth 6 feet of dirt. I grew up on country, far away from the mainstream. Those living legend songs ran through my veins. But it kills me to see them leave with ink left in their pens. Live and learn, because crash and burn just can't be the end. So don't let that old jukebox quit playing that old Hank. Little Whitley, keep on filling the smoky air. I can't watch not a coin toss, cash just makes me hurt. Yeah, but eating crow, drinking corn ain't worth 6 feet of dirt. We got to this part of the song right here. We need a bridge to tie it all together. If we're writing a song about the legends, what better bridge to write about than one and only Willie Nelson? So we fit this part in right here. Dodging all the pitfalls ain't easy, there's no doubt. We said we could all steal licks from what Willie figured out. It's the weed. Don't let that old jukebox quit playing that old Hank. Little Whitley, keep on filling the smoky air. Oh, I can't watch a coin toss, cash just makes me hurt. Eating crow, drinking corn ain't worth 6 feet of dirt. I said eating crow, drinking corn ain't worth 6 feet of dirt.
Yeah, man.
Right. How about that?
Yeah, dig that.
Yeah.
I think you're right about the Willie part too. You might be on to something.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the last one.
Free Jamie Johnson.
Yeah, dude. I saw that today. What's going on, man?
I haven't had a chance to really deep dive into it.
I haven't
I'm
either.
not sure. I'm not 100% sure, but either way, you know.
So yeah, we wrote that song, and we were like, how can we write a song about all the legends that passed away and still? Because the song's about like keeping that legacy going, basically. All the greats, they left their plates with meat left on the bone. So I'm calling dibs. I got songs to live before my name's in stone. So it's just that way of just saying, we're here for a long time, and we're here to just keep doing it. And we had a blast writing that, man. It was a great write.
Yeah, good stuff. I'm excited. So, not to put you on the button, but any idea when we might get to hear that in a streamable
Be our
version
next single. Be the next single we put out.
after the new year?
Yeah, it'll be after the new year. It'll probably be, I think we're aiming for March, April
Okay,
drop.
cool.
So yeah, it's gonna be around that time, and I'm excited. It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
absolutely.
We've
Go
had
ahead.
some questions in the chat on TikTok and YouTube. Shorty drums, our buddy. He was
What's up, Shorty?
Yeah, he mentioned 2025 goals. I know you just touched on a little bit of it, but is there more that you would like to add on to that?
Man, like I said, the biggest goal for me is getting the band on full-time salary right now. Obviously, I want to hit 150 dates next year, if it's possible, which is a lot of shows for people that don't understand how a music calendar works, because y'all's work days are not our work days.
Right.
Y'all work Monday through Friday, and we work Friday through Sunday. So 150 shows is a lot of shows in a year. I'd like to hit that goal. I'd also like to start. I think we're going to get into a bus in 25 or early 26. So I'm excited about that too. But man, just playing shows and building our fan base really is my goal. I enjoy getting to different towns and getting to see different people every night, and it's there's nothing like it really. For all the people that have a standalone gig in the same town, I start laughing. It's just like, how do you sit here and play the same 4 people in a bar every night and feel good, man? It's just once you feel that longing feeling for different people every night and different fans that are actually singing back your songs in these towns you never thought they'd heard your songs before. It's a whole nother demon.
Yeah, that's another question we ask folks quite a bit on the pod, and I hate to ask the same questions all the time, but also the answers are similar, but everybody has a little bit different take on it. What's your take when you're when you're opening for somebody and you're in a room where they might not know your music, but halfway through the set you can tell their heads are starting to bob, they're starting to dig what you're doing. Um, what's that like from your point of view to see that you're making new fans or maybe meeting them at the merch table and stuff like that?
There's nothing better. That's honestly, as a singer songwriter, that's almost better than having fans show up, because you know that your fans, they're coming to see you. These people that you're opening for, they probably never heard your name before. And the fact that you can shut up a room by singing a couple songs, and then they all get into it like that, dude. There's nothing that compares to that, because it's one thing for these people to know you and sing all these songs with you, and that's an amazing feeling. But for these people to never know who you are, they don't know your name, they don't know what you do for a living, they don't know who you are at all. To just get shut up by a couple songs and listen, there's nothing better. It's the
And
best.
you and your band go in and win over a crowd as a team.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool thing. Even on the barroom level, when we play places that
Mm-hmm.
nobody knows us or whatever, and you can. I mean, it's a different challenge when you're not playing for family and family and friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That I'm sure that's a challenge, and when it's accepted, I'm sure that's a cool feeling to, a little feather in your cap to work ready for the next one. You know what I mean? To win over the next town.
The moment we knew we were doing something right is when we went on a 2 or 3 day run, and every night people were like, "Hey, you guys sound amazing. You guys are doing great as a band. Everything sounds great. But if we tip y'all $20, will y'all play more of your originals for us?" And that's when
Oh
we're like,
yeah,
okay, we're doing something
that's
right.
right. That's
Because
good.
these people want us to play the originals. They don't want us to play these Clint Black covers or Sawyer Brown songs or George Strait. They want to hear our music because they enjoy it. That's
Yeah.
and we've mixed it in pretty well with the covers. But for people to come up to the stage and be like, hey, you played an original song 2 songs ago. Will you do like 3 more of those in a row? And I'm like, absolutely, would love to.
Very cool.
Ty, this might be a weird question, but I'll just ask it. You've grown up with social media. Unlike some of the folks that you mentioned before, who kind of had to adapt to this newer thing. So maybe it's kind of secondhand for you, but how do you manage the social media piece? Because there's 80 gajillion different platforms. You got to try to make sure your stuff's getting promoted out in different spaces. How do you personally deal with that?
Dude, it's tough. Anybody that's like social media is easy, they're wrong. The reason they say social media is easy is because A, they don't do social media very well at all, or they have some money that pays people to do the social media for them.
Right.
Those are the people that say social media is easy. Um, I've been very fortunate. Our manager handles a lot of our Facebook stuff and he's taken over Instagram to help like lighten the load. And our Facebook's already seen double the increase of what we had before. So we've been growing as a band because of online platforms, which once I got into the business and I realized that the music business is really just being a content creator now, I hated it. But that's unfortunately what music has really come to. Obviously, you have the big names that don't need to do social media, except for like 2 posts a month. But for everybody else that's trying to grind it out and get people to shows and reach out to different people and do these things, it's a blessing and a curse at the
Yep.
same time because there used to be a path to take to get bigger. You would go, you play these, you get a route lined up, you play these towns, these people would come to bars to listen to music, and you grow a fan base. But now that we have social media and we can listen to any song we want to at the touch of a button, people don't go support live music anymore. And that's the worst part about it is that people don't buy CDs anymore because they don't have anything that plays a CD. Why would they
Right.
buy one? There's people that are buying vinyls. Vinyls have been a hot seller just because they're kind of vintage and people still have things that actually play those, But it's a blessing and a curse, like I said, because there's a lot of people that are showing at shows, hearing our music and singing along that we'd never seen before. But there's also some shows that we play that are empty because people in the town don't want to support live music because why would they? They don't care anymore.
Well, for what it's worth, I learned about you first, not because of social media, but I will say, relatively soon after learning about you, I did follow you on the socials, and I think I saw that. Were you at Steamboat with Shane when you did the duet?
We did Hurricane and Poncho and Lefty in Idaho
Oh,
last
okay.
year, and then we just did Poncho and Lefty again in Wisconsin about 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
So we run through those every now and then.
Yeah, so I think the one in Idaho was the one that I initially saw, and obviously I knew Shane Smith, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool." Like, it's not every day that you get to sit and do a duet with Shane, right? That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
That had to be like a pinch yourself moment.
that happened because of a fan. Actually, we were hanging out at Whiskey Riff after party, and we were hanging out, and there's these fans that showed up at the very break of dawn to see my set, and then they were hanging out at the after party. I was hanging out with Shane, and we were talking it up, and these guys all walked over like, "Dude, will you guys do a song together?" And Shane's like, "It's up to the kid. If he wants to, we can." And I'm just sitting there thinking, "Yeah, like I'm gonna turn down doing a song with you. Like, it's obviously I'm gonna say yes."
Right.
But yeah, it just kind of happened. We got on stage. He's like, "Hey, do you know Hurricane?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know Hurricane." And we did that. And he's like, "Hey, do you want to do Poncho and Lefty too while we're here?" And we did that one too. And it that's the moment that all connected for us. That because we see each other at festivals, and that's kind of how our connections grow. Because we see each other grinding when we're at festivals.
Yeah.
Because we know that, okay, if we're playing this festival and these guys are just now getting on the bills, that means they're doing something right. And so for that to happen at that moment, just like everything clicked, and it really created a form of trust and bonding between me and Shane. And, you know, I've been friends with him before, but never as close as that. It created a new kind of bond for us.
It's wonderful. I would recommend if y'all haven't seen it, just go to Ty's social page, any of his social pages, and you can probably find it on there. It's a pretty cool moment.
We have somebody in the chat, Stephanie, that was there at the Highway 30 in Idaho.
We should invite her in.
Yeah,
we slipped her in the back door. I remember that.
Yeah. We and there was a question. Any favorite green room experiences as an artist?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. I know that's somewhat.
I mean, we were just with Shane in Wisconsin, but I'm not gonna say that.
Okay.
Because I feel like that's stupid. But we, man, one of my favorite green room hangs was with John Teague from the Teague Brothers. We played Love and War together in Plano, Texas. And the green room is not very green. It's you literally in Love and War. For you guys who've never been there, you have to walk through the kitchen to get to the green room. It's just a funny little spot. But we sat down there and I picked his brain on some of his new album that's not released yet, because I've gotten he slipped me a couple links that showed me some of the cool stuff. And being around John's great. If you've never gotten to see John live or gotten to hang out with John, I highly recommend it, because he's just an amazing person. I love John. He's been so much help. He's been just courageous of me. And seeing somebody like John that's such an amazing songwriter really believe in what I'm doing it's a whole nother demon almost, because it's one thing for me to be like, okay, I'm writing good songs, but for somebody that I look up to like John or Shane or BJ Barham or, you know, one of these guys to be like, dude, I'm looking up to what you're doing too. You know what I mean? It's a whole nother level of thinking I'm in a dream, because it doesn't seem real ever.
Yeah, John's great. Anybody that, like you said, anybody that hasn't heard the Teague Brothers yet probably should, if you have a couple minutes, go check them out, because they are wonderful.
And he's
you'll have a
on
new
the
favorite
before too. So.
I'm biased too. What's that? Sorry.
You'll have a new favorite band.
Yeah,
for sure.
I've never got to see them play live or anything like that. But John was on the on the podcast early on. Really cool guy, and since that interview, I've heard a lot more folks bring that name up about basically echoing what you're saying. And if you have, you know, even kind of assholes can have a couple people say something good about them, but when it comes up on whatever you want to call it, just in conversation
without prompting.
Yeah, without prompting, and several different people from different areas of town. One from Houston that I can think of off the top of my head, and you in Oklahoma, and you know, it's not like you're around them every day or really close or whatever, but you're still echoing the same thing. So that means a lot, just from an outsider. There's several people in the chat that have seen you live and things like that. One, your buddy Kent said that he saw Ty at Steamboat, so which
Sweet,
he sees
man.
everybody. So
Thanks for bringing everybody in tonight. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
He'll be out there again this year, hanging out. I'll be getting up and doing some songs with some different artists at their shows this year, because some of them want to help me get on the lineup next year. So be on the lookout. You need to go support all the artists, because you may see some impromptu performances.
Very cool. A little inside baseball there. We like that. I'm curious, you know, you talked a little bit about some of the folks that you really look up to in the industry. But is there anybody maybe close to you, or maybe not even associated with the music business per se, that you go to for unbiased advice? Meaning somebody who will kind of shoot you straight?
So as a 16-year-old kid, I obviously don't have a whole lot of, because if I did, it would probably be another kid, which is a bad idea. But the guy that shoots down my dreams of songwriting has always been my father and my mother. They've been very critical of my songwriting, which I'm so thankful of, truly, because there's a lot of people and there's a lot of kids out there that are writing songs that do good that their parents are just treating them like they do nothing wrong. And it's simply not true. I promise you. If you're writing your first 3 or 4 songs and you take all 4 of those songs to your parents and they say, "Oh, sweetie, you need to play that at a show sometime," you need to find different people to talk to because they probably don't know what they're talking about. But my parents were very straight up with me. If something sucks, they'll be like, "Hey, this doesn't sound right. You need to probably go change this line or do something different there." But everything else sounds, I can usually piece together a decent song to show them. But most of the stuff I write never leaves the writing room. So, but as far as people and advice, honestly, John Teague's been one of the best. He's been so helpful, and anything I ever have a question on, he's always there for me. And I've truly enjoyed our relationship.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's great.
that's cool to hear. I want to make sure we talk about your Christmas song. I know that people may listen to this podcast in June, but still, how does
It'll be Christmas next year, Soul.
It'll be Christmas
yeah,
next year.
yeah, exactly. They'll have Christmas trees out by June. So either way, how did that come about? I mean, not everybody gets to cut and release a Christmas song. How did that happen for you?
I wrote a song and the producer liked it and we just put it on tape. It was very simple. Truthfully, I actually wrote that before we cut the last album, and it wasn't ready yet to go in studio, so we didn't put it on the album or record it. And we waited and waited and waited, and eventually it came back around for Christmas time. And I was like, if I can't be happy for Christmas, nobody can. And so we recorded this song and released it. And it's probably one of my favorite sad Christmas songs on earth. Everybody that doesn't like Christmas music has still gave us good feedback on the song, which is very cool for me because I'm not a huge fan of the, Mariah Carey song that, gets her a huge mailbox
Right.
check every year. But
Soul Gravy is.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we, I figured I actually wrote the song about all the people that have to work on the line of duty that aren't able to spend Christmas with their families. And that kind of turned into people resonating that with lost ones that they had to lose this year, that they're not spending Christmas with this year. Or families that all of a sudden are working on the other side of the country that are, doing this and this. And so
Or musicians away from home.
Absolutely. And so I originally wasn't going to record the song because I was like, dude, people are going to drive off a bridge if they hear this on the radio, because I truthfully believe that there may be some bigger deaths than people that listen to the radio stations that play it. But I realized how selfish it would be to not record it and release it, because I played it at some shows and the people that heard it just broke down. And I realized that sometimes, especially, I learned it from, once again, BJ Barham, that sad songs connect with people. Hurt connects with people. People love it because it makes them feel things that some other songs don't. And once I saw that touch other people, and I make these full-grown men just bawl their eyes out, I realized that, this song means something. It means something to these people. It means something to these other people. And I'm like, I really want to record this song because I know that it's not just a song to people. Like Don't Tear Me Apart on our album. Great song. It's fun to play. It's one of our favorite shows, songs that play at a show. But the song, it doesn't always mean something, But Christmas All Alone is definitely a song that will be played in 20 years and be like, okay, this is still true to this day. It still hurts.
The first song that come to mind when you're talking about this is "Hey, It's Carl." What is it? "Grateful for Christmas."
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough song. That's a it doesn't matter if it is June and you hear that song. That's a tough song no matter what.
Yeah, I got to my 3 a.m. depressive thought stage and wrote this song. What song that pops into my head is "Unfortunate Kind" by BJ Barham. This song that just can make anybody in a room just crumble and fall apart. And I've seen it happen at least 100 times. Seeing them live, him playing that song, and I just hope that my songs have half the impact that song did on people someday.
His song, he told the story last time I saw him. It was, I don't think it was released yet. The song, I believe it's called "The First Year."
Yeah, that's a tough one, man.
Yeah, he played that acoustic and it wasn't released yet, and there was all kind of big, burly, grown dudes crying at the
Man,
show.
if you
Like,
don't
well, BJ,
BJ
you
show.
won, you got us.
Yeah.
So, congratulations, BJ. You
Yeah,
did.
he's
win.
a tearjerker, man.
We don't fill a lot of this show with promotion, but I feel like this would be an appropriate time, Soul, for you to tell us about what's coming up on Saturday.
Okay, all right. Because this will probably be replayed on YouTube as well. So if you don't catch it live, it will definitely be somewhere. We are. Where do I do with it? This Saturday. That's going to be November 23rd at 10 a.m. Central Time. We're going to play this album right here. Me and Talbo do a show called Earwax. It's very cleverly named because it's for your ears and it's vinyl. Wax. Anyway, BJ Barham and Bill Corbin are gonna come on with us, and they're gonna we're gonna play track by track, and they're gonna break it down for us. Whatever they decide to talk about. From when did this album? This album's probably what 10, 12 years old.
It's
Something
12
like
years old. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it'll be cool to
2012, I think.
the old guys looking back at it now and see what they think about it. So
I was just with BJ and Bill in Fort Worth a couple nights ago, and so that's gonna be a good episode. You guys definitely want to tune into that because those guys have some stories. I spent many nights with Bill Corbin, and he's got a lot of stories, so that'll be fun.
Stories are important. We don't have music without it. All right, so can I do rapid fire now? All right.
Yep.
All right, so Ty, here's the deal. Most of these are pretty easy questions, but first one.
I have a new one.
Oh, okay. You want to start off rapid fire?
Courtesy of Mike.
Go ahead.
Mike. Okay.
First rapid fire question.
All right. We know. I'm just assuming that you're a Turnpike fan. The song "The Funeral." Mike wants to know, what do you think he's talking about when he says a slightly stolen car?
I don't know, but I know Mike McClure wrote the song.
Okay.
And but I wish I could tell you. I'm not word smart. Just
That's just.
I find that to be not true, but I think you're very word smart.
Yeah. That's okay.
Well, we'll get to that. Maybe we'll add that to the list. I appreciate
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Doc. Desert Island album. So you get to go hang out on a desert island, but you only get to take one album. What album would it be?
Oh, dude, that's not easy. Like if I had to take one right now, like just going off my Spotify playlist, I've been jamming out to a lot of 49 Winchester lately. So it'd probably be one of their albums. I think Everlasting Lovers, one of their albums. I think that might be one.
Yeah, they're great.
If not, probably a Teague Brothers album. It would probably be the new one that's not released yet because it's got some of my favorite songs they've ever written.
Nice.
Also, Burn Flicker Dies, hard to beat.
Pretty good album, yeah.
Oklahoma City by Shane Smith. That whole album was incredible. So there's a lot. There's not one, but
Yeah, you can make your own rules. It's your island.
The guys that are able to just to name the one album right off the top, like some people have named it direct, like quick, and I don't even know how they can do that.
And it's, I mean, truthfully, it's probably, if I had to pick one, like there's room for one thing on the plane. It's probably In the Throes by John Moreland. It's probably that whole album. You can ask BJ here in a couple of days that's also one of his favorite albums to this day. I talked to him about it Saturday night. But John Moreland's very slept on songwriter, and he's probably one of the best to do it personally.
Man, I love that album, but I mean, I think I'd be a little depressed being on the
Yeah.
island to begin with. I feel
Well,
like that might send
Yeah,
me down a
they may
funnel.
send you just down a rabbit hole,
Right.
Yeah.
but at least you would,
Yeah.
be embraced it
At
by
It's
least
quality, no
At least
question.
it wouldn't be the Mariah Carey Christmas song
No.
on the island. So
No.
that's good for.
All right, dinner with one historical figure, dead or alive. You could have dinner with one historical figure. Who would it be?
Man, that's not fair. Tom Skinner.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Tom Skinner.
Father of Red Dirt music. All right, somebody stole my ideal green room, so thank you, chat, for that. First concert that you attended, and also first concert that you paid for, which this might be tricky for you, but
I don't think
maybe
I
not.
paid for one yet.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
I don't think I.
say. All right,
I
first
mean,
concert.
I probably made money that went in my parents' pocket, and they bought the ticket with it.
There you go.
But I know for sure that. Oh man, the first one I remember was, I was like maybe 3 or 4 years old. I'd probably been to a lot of concerts before that, but the first one I remember was Cody Canada departed at Kane's Ballroom, and there's a video of me wearing a Kane's Ballroom shirt. I'll find the video somewhere. It's out there on YouTube. But somebody picked me up and put me on stage with Cody, and I was jamming out facing the crowd, and Cody walked up behind me, and I had no clue. I was completely oblivious. Everybody started cheering and rocking out. I'm like, yeah, I'm playing this little air guitar that nobody can see. I'm like, yeah, they're really digging me playing this guitar. And then I turn around and Cody gives me his guitar pick to strum the last chord of the song. And that forever would be burned into my head because there's still video proof to remind me of it. But
Yeah, that's
that's
amazing.
probably one of the first ones I ever went to. As far as
Very
buying
cool.
my own ticket, I couldn't tell you. I probably
That's
have.
all right. That's fair. You already mentioned, I think, some of your, I don't know, bucket list venues, at least for the near future. Do you have any bucket list venues for maybe down the road? Further down the road?
We'd all like to get to playing arenas. But I mean, I'd like to at least go play at Billy Bob's once. I know there's a lot of artists that aren't a fan of Billy Bob's, and I've talked to a lot of them about it because Billy Bob's have been known to take some merch cuts from venues, and you talk to BJ about his merch cuts pretty soon.
Yeah.
I promise
Yeah,
you,
for
he'll
sure.
talk a lot about it.
Could be a topic.
He will have something to say about it. But
I'm going to make a note of that.
yeah, you definitely want to talk about that because that's a big thing. And
We may need to add some time to the podcast, by
dude,
the way.
Yeah. Well, this is for the in person.
Yeah.
This
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
so I probably at least want to play Billy Bob's once, you know.
Yep, for sure. All right, cool. All right, Mount Rushmore. So you get to pick 4 folks that are on your country music Mount Rushmore. Who would they be?
And it's got McClure. Mike McClure's got to be on there. That's a must. I'll throw BJ Barham on there. Are we going off of like their show or their songwriting? Because that's another thing.
The whole thing.
The whole
So
whole thing
just
combined,
when I say artist, it probably encompasses,
like all of it.
all of that. Yeah.
I'll probably go Mike, BJ. I'll go with Shane Smith. He's a killer one that a lot of people don't really get into, but I really dig his songwriting. That last one's tough, man. There's so many that could fill the spot. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I think Cody Canada's a safe bet as far as songwriting wise.
Yeah.
It's either him or Boland. Him or Boland probably fill that last spot.
Nice. All right. And then this is a little bit more controversial, maybe. Tribute bands, yay or nay?
I think there's a good way to do it. If that makes sense. I think the fact there's tribute bands to bands that are still alive, I don't think that's cool. That like are still playing. Like I'm sure that once Turnpike went off the road for their hiatus, that somebody started a Turnpike tribute band,
Right.
And I'd probably be like, yeah, that's cool. You can't see that band anymore,
Right.
so we're offering this as a, because I have a good friend of mine that actually plays in a Kiss cover band called Dress to Kill here in the Tulsa area, and they're a big deal here in Tulsa, and they're really good actually at what they do. I really like their band, and they're killer.
Do they dress up in the whole
Oh, they
thing?
do. They do the
Yeah,
whole night, dude. They do everything. They do
yeah.
every single solo you hear. Gene comes out, does the fire thing. He spits the blood.
Oh wow.
They
Okay.
do it all.
They're
They put on a
committed.
show.
Fully
Uh,
committed. Yeah.
it's they're very committed. And I was, you can't tell actually from here, but I have a whole like memorabilia wall of Kiss stuff. I'm a huge Kiss fan growing up.
Oh, okay.
I actually have like
Interesting.
a 10,000 piece puzzle sitting up here and signed autographs of people and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think it could be done well. I think that like there's a Taylor Swift cover band out there right now. I'm like, I probably wouldn't pay to see that, But
Not for everybody.
like the Kiss thing, I could get behind.
It seems like most of the folks that come on are okay with it if the ego is in check, knowing that you're portraying someone else. If they're
Yep.
cool folks, then that seems to be the overwhelming answer from other musicians. Is like, as long as you realize that you are a tribute,
Not them.
not them.
But the funny part about it is the Kiss cover band is so good because they act like they are them. Because
Understand, but I guess
that's such a persona.
right. I think they're meaning after the fact,
But yeah, like
between the gigs.
their whole band. We went out and had breakfast at an IHOP with one of them after a show one night, and yeah, they're amazing people. But yeah, like if you're showing up to a gig thinking that you're like
Exactly.
actually Kiss, like that would be a
Right.
different story, obviously.
Makes sense.
But once they get that makeup on, dude, nothing
all.
can slow those guys down. They talk in character. It's funny. We're like hanging out in the green room, and I'm trying to have a conversation with them. One of them just on the other side, just like screaming, talking. It's great. It's a great time.
All right.
All right. One thing that I wrote down that I was supposed to get to, just because of possibly even one because she's a Memphis native, hometown lady, so I want to make sure we talk about Casey Johns and your duet with her. Um, can you tell us a little bit about that and how is it working with Casey? I'm hoping we're gonna have her on the pod at some point in time. So
Oh, you
look
will. If
forward
you
to
try
that.
to get her on the pod, it shouldn't be hard.
We've talked. We've talked. We just got to work out time.
Yeah, Casey was awesome to work with. We did the whole radio tour for Lost and Found together, which was 4 days on the road together doing radio stops every single day. We did like 4 or 5 a day with each other. Seriously, going into it without knowing Casey that well, I was a little scared, even though I'd known her here and there, and um, I knew she was a sweet person. I know she's awesome at what she does, but after that whole radio tour, I couldn't look forward enough to seeing her the next time because she was such an amazing person. If you ever talk to her, she's always like laughing and smiling, which we shot a music video for and for the song Lost and Found, and that was a problem. We had to keep retaking things because she couldn't quit laughing and smiling. We're like, you gotta look sad, depressed, not happy and joyous.
Here, listen to this Christmas song.
Right, listen
It'll
to
help.
this song. Get you in the mood for the actual song. But no, in the music video, we taught her how to smoke a cigarette. That was fun. So yeah, but Casey's great. Casey spelled like the Sunshine Band. I learned that on the tour. Stuck in my head. Works. But Casey Johns, y'all need to check her out. She's great. Working in the studio with her, I didn't get to. On that song, we left before she came in to do her vocals on it.
Yeah.
But by the way, my producer talked about her. It was super easy to work with her, and she was willing to try anything. So, yeah.
Great.
Yeah, that's cool. Like I said, for those that don't know her, she's a Memphis native that's in the Nashville world now, and just doing just like Ty, just working at it, grinding and touring. And she was in Europe not long ago, so
Yeah.
all over. But all right, this is the. You got anything else, Tabo? We're good for okay.
I am
All right.
plumb out of questions.
The most important question of the evening, Ty. what is your favorite Little Debbie cake snack? What is your favorite Little Debbie
I've been,
snack?
I've been saving up for this question.
Uh-oh,
I knew it was
he's
coming.
prepared. He's done
I knew it
homework.
was coming. I mean, oatmeal cream pies are tough to beat. Truthfully, those are probably one of my favorites. If I had to, cosmic brownies, dude, they feel like home. It's hard to beat them. I mean, I can picture myself in third grade opening up my lunchbox and seeing a Little Debbie cosmic brownie. My day just got better. So those take me back to my childhood that I'm still living. Um, but
Silver
probably,
medal for
if I had to eat like a whole box of something, it would be an oatmeal cream pie. Because
Yeah,
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 silver medal for the oatmeal cream pie.
yeah.
man. Um, the 28th of December, I'll be in Fort Worth, Texas, at the Rhinestone Saloon. For anybody out there that hears this and wants to come see us live, we'll be there full band. 27th, the day before that, we'll be in Brownwood, Texas, full band. For all the people out there that check us out, and the rest of this year's clear.
Nice.
Yep. Make sure you follow Ty Smith and the Minor Offenses on all of your socials. Wherever you stream your music, go hit the follow button, so you'll be up to date whenever they release new music. Whenever they release or make posts on Instagram, TikTok, anything like that, engage in those posts, comment, share, like, especially if you've got buddies you think might like this song or whatever like that. I mean, that's how fan bases are grown, and algorithms love it when you watch a video, actually watch it and comment and share and whatnot. So it helps everyone involved. Don't just watch it and do nothing, because that, unfortunately, the algorithm doesn't like that.
Yes. The algorithm I learned today also likes more than 5 words. So if you're going to comment, make sure your comment is at least at a minimum 5 words.
So if you're gonna do
Fun fact.
hand claps, yeah, do a lot
Yeah.
of.
Hand claps are great. We appreciate the support, but put 5 words in there, please.
I did not know that. Okay,
I just learned it today.
I'm gonna start writing 5 words, like
The
literally 5
almighty.
words out, is what I'm gonna start writing. See if the algorithm likes that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boom.
All right, Ty. We tried. Ty was going to come on early on this podcast, and he was on the road, I believe, and it was hotel Wi-Fi, and it didn't work out. But I'm glad that it all worked out the way that it did at this point in time. You got your new album is out, and the Christmas song as well, Christmas All Alone. So I'm glad that it worked out the way that it did, to be honest. So. Thank you for rescheduling and for coming on the podcast.
Dude, thank y'all for doing what you guys do. I know I know it seems like a small task from y'all's point of view, but you guys doing what you're doing is helping a lot of artists, and we appreciate it a ton.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. Tell your pops hi for me.
I will. I absolutely will. Thank y'all so much.